Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Josh from Juice Labs, and welcome to Juicy Conversations. Juice Labs is a tech community here in Vancouver, bringing creatives together and to bring insights and resources from industry experts. So yeah, we decided to start a series of conversations to check and see how creatives are adjusting to the new norm and what they're doing to thrive. So some housekeeping rules. If you guys have any questions, just put it in the chat and then we'll cover it at the end for Q&A. So I'm excited to introduce you guys to our next guest. He is originally from Toronto. He's had experience working in Vancouver as well, but now he's currently based in Singapore. He's the co-founder of FinTrucks and creator of the CoX3 community. Please welcome Conrad Lin.
Hey guys, nice to be here. Thank you so much, Josh, for inviting me. Yeah, I'm humbled, man. This is looks like a little great community you've built, and I'm so excited to see how going online has went for you, and obviously very excited to be on this segment.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. I was wondering if you could share a little bit more of, like a little bit of your background, maybe how you got started from Toronto to Vancouver, and then how you moved over to Singapore and what you're doing over there.
Yeah, sure. It's actually a pretty long story, but I'll try to cut it short. It's kind of interesting actually. So, my background in education is neuroscience and psychology, with a minor in physiology. So I was actually on the medicine track back in university. So yeah, not many people know that actually. That was interesting to me. But so I was always on the track of becoming a doctor, and because at the time I always thought my life's calling was to help people, and the way to help people was to be a doctor, heal people. I guess that's the most literal sense, right?
Okay.
But then when I was in school, I had a lot of different experiences. Some of which was I realized that the impact of being a singular doctor, having the patient doctor relationship, it's limiting, especially in Canada, when you can only see how X number of patients a day, a month. They don't let you overwork yourself, and even if you do, you don't get any benefits from it, right? And I had a fantastic mentor when I was in school that kind of gave me a fresh perspective, because she was a professor that she also had issues with how can she have the greatest impact while doing her work and becoming a doctor. And she ended up actually switching from MD to going to policy. But in policy, as you and I know, especially in Canada, the government moves slow. And I'm not saying that as a joke, right? And so that was very frustrating for her. And then she gave me all that experience. I'm like, wow, so I really need to think of a way where I can be as impactful as possible and still go towards my vision of helping more and more people. So I've always been a very entrepreneurial person by nature. I always like finding new ways to do cool things, and obviously trying to build something out of that. So throughout university, I did a lot of side jobs. I worked in nonprofits. I did MCAT tutoring for a while.
Wow.
I also hosted Airbnb. So there's a whole story there.
Wow.
So, anyway, I stumbled upon a tech firm, and it's a software tech firm based in Vancouver, and I ended up working with them on various projects, right? And then I had the opportunity to work with them on a brand new project, and it was called FinTrucks. 3 years ago, it was brand new, but that I could essentially take some of the learnings that they've had in serving the financing industry, primarily in Canada, and see how we can take that overseas to Singapore, and see how we can essentially take the technology advancements we've made in North America, bring it to and we usually serve banks and big financial institutions, and how can we bring those knowledge down to the SME lending level so that we can help small and medium enterprises get financing when nobody else can. So essentially, that's one of the that was one of the, like, I guess, paths that took me over to Singapore around. So we started that company around 2.5 years ago, roughly, and then I did the official move to Singapore around a year and a half. So,
Okay.
and then yeah, the rest of the rest is history. Like I've been pretty proud of the stuff we've done here at Pinterest. Basically, we're finding new and innovative ways to get SMEs capital, and whether that be through debts or through equity, we're helping them grow their business and helping them find a more meaningful way to get financing rather than having to be taken advantage of by like let's say loan sharks or just ridiculous interest rates, as I'm sure anybody starting a business knows.
Right. Wow. So you have a background in neuroscience. So you have kind of like the health side, and then you have experience in tech and now in finance as well. That's pretty stacked. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. How are things in Singapore? Just an update. Just with the current situation, are things a little bit more under control? Has it picked up? And like, how are you doing overall?
Yeah, like I always thought, and I guess this is like at some point I kind of turned myself off the news because I didn't want to get sensationalized, so to
Yeah.
speak. And I'm sure every like Asian person can agree with me on this. Is when COVID-19 first hit, like I was getting like flood of like messages from my relatives, like just forwards, right?
Right.
Saying like how COVID was doing this, COVID was doing that, it's the end of the world, or some kind of like those WhatsApp chain threads, and I'm just like, all right, everybody's definitely a bit too, I guess,
Reactive, eh?
yeah, I'm reactive about this, and the thing is, in Singapore, around like 2 months ago, we already started getting notices from the government to work from home. So we actually started social distancing like 2 months ago, and for my company, we all just like from day one basically already started working remotely, and it was fine for us because generally half our team works remote anyways.
Okay.
Like I said, we have offices in Vancouver, we have a team over in Toronto, and we also have us here in Singapore. So a lot of us actually understood what it was like to work remote. So it wasn't too difficult to do that switch, and we also have usually one day of work from home anyway. So we just decided really early on, hey, let's just do that, which was good for us because in the end, around our office area, we had a cluster of cases. So I think it was really good that we didn't stay in the office. Yeah. But I always thought that things were really fine in Singapore until like last week when they suddenly announced that you can't meet anybody anymore, you can't have any private gatherings over one person. So I'm like, well, that's me. Like, that's not a gathering at all. Basically, you're just saying no gatherings. So basically, even if you want to meet, like let's say your family, like if they don't live in the same address as you can't meet them anymore. At least until I think the middle of May. I'm not quite sure. Again, so now I've been tuning back into the news cycle, just trying to see what's happening. And so this week we started having cases, like 200 new cases every single day.
Oh wow!
Yesterday we had 500 new cases. So I'm not sure how to interpret all this. I definitely see that things are picking up, but we also are one of the most widely tested countries per capita. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a number. Maybe it's just like reporting because we have the actual testing.
Yeah, I'm always curious, like how Singapore and my brother lives in Taiwan. Those are the two areas where they've handled it really well. I think because they've experienced SARS and they're a lot more well prepared. So have you seen like huge impact in the way you've worked, or like your coworkers or other people around yourself in Singapore?
Yeah, I guess so I like to tinker with a lot of cool new ideas. That's just my style. You might even call it over engineering. But basically, if I find a way that I can really engineer my life to do something meaningful and effective, I'll try my best to pass it on to anyone I know. So generally, people around me first, right? So friends and family. So one thing that I had like an inspiration for, I just near the end of last year was I've always been like a huge fan of how um, I cannot say like fascination, right? Of how games can really attract your attention so much that you spend so much time in the game, and they do it through like little, login rewards. I'm sure anybody who plays a mobile game know that every day if you log in, you get a nice, fun spinning wheel or some random number generator, and then you get some kind of reward.
Right.
And then, or having like a sense of progression, having levels, having character stats you can level up, skill trees, gold rewards, and and obviously the general theme of it all is like instant gratification, right? You do something, you get something. You do a quest, you get like a reward, and you're very happy for that moment, and you're looking for the next one and the next one and the next one. So
right.
I was like, how can I bring that to my product video, right? I was like, how can I make that so I'm that engaged and I'm that interested in the things I do on a work basis, right? How can I make workplace, so to speak? So basically, end of last year, I created like a template or an idea around that and shared it with my friends and family to try out. But I also beta tested with my company. I was like, okay, so I have some people that work remotely, and obviously I know it's really tough to work remote because I worked remote for around 2-3 years actually before I did all this, and I understand there's really two biggest problems with working remote. Maybe even three, but we'll get there. The first one is you don't know how hard other people are working. And usually, like, if you are inside an office and you can see your colleagues, working really hard at their thing, or at least staring at their monitor really hard. Who knows if they're really working, but you can at least like get that sense of camaraderie where we're all in this together. Your time you're putting in to do your contribution to make the company successful is the same as what I'm doing, and same as what the boss is doing, and so on and so forth. And therefore, you get motivated by that, right? Where everyone's fighting for the same goal. When you're online, and because you know how distracted you can be, I'm sure your phone's right beside you. There is distractions around. Sometimes you start doubting. Is everyone else as productive as you are? So I'm like, okay, so we need a leaderboard. We need to show people that we're working hard on what we're doing, and if everyone's earning gold and EXP rewards because they're completing tasks and fulfilling company objectives, then obviously everyone's working hard, right? And you can see that your teammates is making sure that they're doing their best so that you can succeed too. So that's the first thing. The second thing is knowing why you're doing something. I realized that when you have only so many limited amounts of conference calls, with your team members, every so often, you don't get a chance to get a full picture of why you're doing this and why it's important for you to finish this task. And when you don't know why, you lose a lot of motivation in, who's this really helping? What is the purpose, right? Why am I doing this? What is it trying to achieve? Before I can figure out the how. And that's a big thing that I think a lot of corporations overlook in terms of their delegation of work, so to speak. They're really just building up like mindless drones where they want to say, hey, this is a well-structured organization. This is what you got to do. This is your job day in, day out. Why? Well, don't worry about it. Just do your wheel. You're a cog in a bigger machine. You don't have to think so hard. And in my opinion, that's limiting the creativity that could be coming out of people. If they know why they're doing something, they can possibly innovate a better way to tackle how, right? So my thought process here was, well, and again, if I allude to gaming, right? If I do a certain quest, I know why I'm doing it because I'm either doing it to unlock a bigger storyline, right? Or maybe it's a side quest, right?
Yeah.
Then I'm doing it to unlock rewards, specific rewards for myself. Let's say I want a specific item, right? And I know I have to do a certain quest to get that item, and that item will help me progress further in life, or in the game. See, I'm already mixing things
Yeah.
up. But yeah, so basically, like it's a no-brainer, so to speak, where I know why I gotta do that thing, right? And therefore, and even for like let's say trades, like some games when you work on a specific skill, you
Mhm.
know why? It's because I want to get that wood cutting skill to really high, or that mining skill, that cooking skill, or whatever, right? And I know exactly what it means for me to be a good cook. Maybe in that game, I want to be able to cook, a certain type of food that's going to heal me X amount of health that no one else has, or whatever, right? Or give me a certain amount of benefits. And I just really like that kind of idea because obviously that's why we're so driven to it, is that there's a clear objective of why the hell we're doing that. So again, my second thing was I wanted to make sure that everyone in my company knew exactly why they were doing it. They had the hand in the why and the hand in the what. What did it mean to succeed, right? If I say, we want to we want to be the best in the industry, right? What does it mean? Well, maybe it means that we want to make $1 million in revenue this year. Maybe it means that we want to make 5 really good hires, right? And so everyone's kind of entrenched in the company vision and the company objectives rather than just the senior management, which is usually how a lot of corporations handle that. So,
Wow.
yeah. So basically, with that kind of idea, I started beta testing with my colleagues, and now with COVID-19 and everyone's remote, I'm like, great, everyone come on. Because like normally, like you would only be able to quantifiably reward salespeople, so to speak, because sales, it's obvious when you bring in value, right? You get in a sale, it's X amounts of sales order value. Therefore, we know exactly how much contribution we have to the company. But for other people, like marketing, for developers, for HR, even like a lot of the work goes unnoticed and under the hood, and you don't. I wanted a way for everybody to be recognized for the contributions they're actually giving, the proper contributions they're giving towards the company, and this is the way I essentially made it so that everyone has a quantifiable number to what they're doing. Like, let's say, for example, if you're part of a project that achieved a big win, or so to speak, like a big objective for the company, then obviously you should earn some gold and some XP for that, right? You should level up in that respective domain, and you should earn reward points. And in the end, that reward points at the end of the year can be reliably converted into bonuses, right?
Ah.
So that's how I'm thinking of it, like that. Yeah.
Wow. So how long did that take you to beta test with your company, and actually how long did it take for you to convince them to do it?
Well, I think like when I'm passionate enough about something, I'm very easy to convince. So like I think like I kind of outlined why this was important to them. Again, why, right?
Yeah.
What they'll get out of it, and then how we're doing it. So it wasn't too difficult for me to onboard. Actually, it was just a matter of like getting it all set up.
Yeah.
So one thing also about me is like when I have a vision about something, I move pretty fast. So I only really had the strong idea for it, like maybe I think it was either early November or mid-November, and then within a week I had like designed and mocked up exactly what I wanted, because that was also around the time when I found this like pretty cool productivity tool called Notion. And I've always been using like Asana and Trello and all those different kind of like productivity software before. And I had been using one called Proof Hub for like a year. I had a year contract with them, and it frustrated me to no end because I had no way to control the properties that were in each card. So basically, I was stuck like appending a lot of information on one property. I don't know if that makes sense, but like it was just like they didn't give me like a proper database structure to handle my stuff, and I was like, damn, this is frustrating as hell. So when I found a tool that allowed me to be so flexible in adding new properties and even adding formulas to calculate stuff based on the input I make into each card or into each item I put in, and having like different views I can sort and filter and view things on. I was like, damn, this is like there's a lot of possibilities here that and I saw myself building something that like the gamification idea, right? So within a week, I kind of built that all up and going. I Also because at the suggestion of like some friends and family, because I don't know if they just get rid of me. I say this as a joke. I really all a good jest, and I'm sure they did too. Is that like, so usually I have these really cool ideas, right? I'm like, I share all I can with friends and family, and then they're like, these are pretty cool ideas. Why don't you share them with the world, right? Why don't you like see what you can do on social media, and maybe start a blog, maybe start a YouTube channel. I don't know, right? Just see what you can do to make a bigger impact. Again, my whole thing is about being impactful, right? How can I be meaningfully impactful on more than just one, right? More than one. So yeah, at the same time, I kind of like released like the video online on like the theory behind what I wanted to do. I wanted to see if people had any ideas about that, if they enjoyed that kind of idea. I had a prototype for people to try, and that kind of blew up a little bit. Okay, blowing up is weird for me to say because I don't know what blowing up means exactly.
Yeah.
Because for me, like, I don't know for you guys, but for me, like on YouTube, usually when I watch YouTube, nothing under like 100,000 views really shows up in my feed. So until like it hits like 100K views, I don't really consider that blowing up, right? So, but when I first launched my first video and I reached like 5K views in a week, and then people are like, yeah, that's traction, right? You had 0 subscribers, right? Obviously, that meant people were following you and watching your stuff somehow.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, maybe then that's encouragement for me to keep adding more and more and more. So yeah, so basically that was a kickstart of my journey, building this gamification project. I ended up adding a lot of enhancements over time as obviously my friends and family network started using it more and more. My company started using more and more. I built a community around it that, a lot of people are also using it inside the community, so I get a lot of good feedback from that as well.
And that's really how I met you.
Like, it is, right? So the idea is that like I don't want to determine exactly how you should gamify your life. I want to give you the structure and how you could gamify your life, how you can set up badges, capture streaks in your life, how you can reward yourself for things you do every day, how you can how you can control your dopamine rushes, so to speak, right? And then what the exact parameters are, that's up to you, right? And that's the beauty of the system that I think that I really enjoy, and I think everyone else really enjoys too.
That's awesome. So for the audience, can you share what is your YouTube channel, and maybe I'll put it down in the description below. But how can they find it?
It's just my name.
Conrad Lin.
Okay. /C/Conrad Lin. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Maybe we can take this time to dive in if you want to show us a little bit of your gamification Notion template.
Oh, sure. Yeah, if you want to. That's pretty cool. Okay, no problem. Let me see. I need to share my screen then, right?
Is that?
I can do that.
Sure. All right, guys, if you have any questions, just write them down and we'll answer them at the end. Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Let me drag this over so I can see you guys, or at least you. Basically, this is kind of like the community toolbox that I mocked up for the community that I mentioned I built. So basically, like, we built a community of around like people that are really passionate about constant productivity, growth, and learning. And essentially, the community is called CoX3. It stands for Co-Creation, Collaboration, Community. It's my attempt at bringing together like-minded forward thinkers that want to affect positive change on the world. So people like myself, people like Josh. Josh is also a joiner of the community, so we're very lucky to have him as well. And essentially, like, this is a page where I combine a lot of the things that I put into practice in my life every day, and seeing how it could be potentially useful for everyone else as well. So you see that, I have things like meal planning, how you can have like a personal CRM, how you can even have an advanced CRM that's kind of like Salesforce, but
wow.
Basically. How you can keep track of daily quests, your daily reflections, time boxing, finance tracking, just a lot of cool stuff that I personally use. And again, I over-engineer for my life. And keep in mind, like a background for that is I'm the kind of person that like I spent so much time. Like I'm really into smart homes. So back when I was in Toronto, like I set up like everything for a smart home. Like I had like motion sensors, I had door sensors, I had a smart lock, I had lights, I had smart devices. Basically, I made it so that I never had to touch a light switch again. And that was my high level like thing that I wanted to accomplish. Never have to touch a remote again or a light switch, and essentially everything else should be automatic. So let's say I had to wake up in the morning at like let's say 8:30, start my workday. My alarm would wake me up when I opened the door for my bathroom. My music was when I woke up. My music would turn on louder.
Oh wow!
Like a 15-minute like warm up. My lights would slowly turn on like a sunrise, and then when I opened the door to my bathroom, everything would stop. I get an updates on my day, my agenda, what's going to happen through the Google Home speaker.
Okay.
And then when I'm finished, when it senses that I'm out of the washroom, my computer will turn on, my desktop will turn on.
Wow.
Open up, at that time Skype for Business, but now we use Teams, and then like I'll be totally ready for my day. Like so, I automated everything to that kind of extent. So just to give you a perspective of what kind of things I'd be automating here.
That's awesome. So that's the mind behind these templates. That's great.
Yeah. So I guess I kind of show like basically the gamification projects. Essentially, like So it was built for my friends, family, and community to motivate us to live our best life and hopefully inspire global movements. It's a template that basically increases productivity by bringing gamification to your daily life. You can get experience points and gold rewards as you accomplish milestones throughout your day. And we have a live leaderboard functionality that promotes friendly competitions between your friends, family, and community. Because I think one big part of how games hook you in is that you're all kind of evaluated on the same scale. If you see someone level 100 and you're level 50, they work that many times harder than you to get what they have achieved in the game. So I wanted to kind of have that idea and see like how, especially even in the family, how you can see how your family members are doing. And that's something that was meaningful to me because I moved out of the house when I was 18, right? And my parents are always worried about me, right? Is he eating well? Is he doing well? Is he living up to what he wants to do, right? So whenever I have a goal or win that I achieved, it's broadcasted to everybody, right? And it's something that I don't have to do. I don't have to do purposefully, right? They just see, oh my God, you leveled up! Congratulations, right? Oh, you just finished a goal. You've been trying to do this for so long. I'm really proud of you. And just a really easy way for them to check in on me and also for me to check in on them to see how they're progressing in their walk of life, so to speak. And because I have two younger siblings and they're both kind of about to go to university, they're quite younger than me. And so I'm also trying to see how I can be involved in what they want to accomplish in their lives and also help them define what is meaningful for their lives too. So it's just really brought my family together a lot closer together. And it's something I really want to see other people benefit from as well. So
awesome. So you and your brothers have a lot of sibling rivalry using this framework.
Rivalry, I guess. Like a bit of that. We try to keep it friendly. Friendly is the good thing. Yeah, but basically, like what happens is this is an example, right? It's demoed out for anyone to kind of customize it.
Yeah. So these are the avatars.
Yeah, these are your avatars, your character tags, so to speak. And again, you can customize any of this, right? So if you decide you want to track more than just XP and goal balance and etc., you can do that. And you can set your own kind of avatar. You can set kind of your own stats that you care about. And basically, like as an example, then I have 420 gold as your avatar is 420 gold, and you can spend these gold in your item shop. In your item shop, you can also add on anything that you want. Whatever you think is a non-productive task that you want to use as a reward for working hard on the productive tasks that you might not particularly enjoy. Because let's be honest, you don't enjoy everything, right? Even in games, you don't sometimes you just have to grind, right? And when you grind, it's because you know that there's a better reward at the end of the day, and that's what their item shop can give you. And so just some, high level stuff. It's like, 30 minutes of TV, ice cream bar, whatever. But there's a lot more meaningful items that I found too, as well. It's like, reading, fiction books instead of nonfiction, for example, right? I used to love reading like mystery novels and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Nowadays, I see a lot of, I like reading a lot. I try to finish a book a week. So I read a lot of nonfiction now, right? A lot of, good, growth mindset related books, psychology books, anything really to fill my time up. But sometimes I just want to curl up with a nice fiction book and, enjoy that. So that's something I add in my own item shop as well.
Nice.
But another thing that I found really meaningful was badges, right? And everyone's familiar with the idea of streaks. I think, our demographic right now is the demographic that grew up on Facebook and Snapchat and those kind of things. And I don't know about you, but I saw a intense obsession with keeping up streaks. I don't know if you remember the like for like things, not but the poke.
Yes.
You poke someone on Facebook, they poke back. And you
Back
see
in the
how
day.
they poke back and forth, and people will rack up huge numbers, and they don't mean anything, right? It's just a number on the screen, but maybe you log in, right? To poke every single day to your best friends. And even with Snapchat, keeping up streaks, I snap you, snap me, we get a streak going. I know people that lost friendships over unmaintained streak. And I'm just
streak is a serious thing.
That's internet points, right? It's not even meaningful. It doesn't mean anything about your friendship if you have a streak or not. But yet you put so much emphasis on maintaining that streak. So I'm like, okay, how can I make that meaningful for me, right? So I'm like, yeah. So if I see that I have, let's say, done reflections, 5 times out of the week, and I need just 2 more to hit 7, then I'll do it, right? I'm like, I want to keep that number up and up. I don't want to lose my progress I've worked so hard on, right?
Right.
And of course, the progress comes with EXP bonuses because I've been, working on a streak. And let's say I want to exercise, I usually ask myself to exercise just 3 times a week. But if I see 3 and I can hit 4 and I can hit 5 and hit 6, I want to keep trying to make that number go up and up and up, right? So that was one of the ideas I implemented in my life. Also, once off badges, a lot of the things we do in life, we don't keep track of, or we don't. I think on a basic fundamental level, we don't take care of ourselves as much as we should. And what I mean by that is a lot of times when we achieve something meaningful or significant in our lives, we dismiss it and we see it as it's just another thing, Whereas. And that makes it hard for a lot of us that when we get to a stage in our lives where we have to take stock of what we've done, where we've been, where we're going, it's easy for us to be depressed and demotivated when we don't think we've accomplished as much as we thought we had, right? And for me, that's a way for me to say, hey, stop. There are a lot of things that you've accomplished in your life. You are good at XYZ area in your life because obviously you've achieved this objective back in 2017. You've finished these projects, right? You've experimented with so many different ways of how you could accomplish that goal and that milestone, and look, you've even earned a badge for it, right? You've even quantifiably hit some kind of benchmark that indicated your excellence in this field. And obviously a lot of professions do have that. That's what a degree is for, or that's what let's say getting a CPA is for, or getting a certification of XYZ. But oftentimes than not, it's a very formalized structure where you can't control what that success really means. And to be honest, even if you did have a certification in, let's say, from a certain coding bootcamp, what does it mean, right? What does it actually mean for you in terms of your career? What does it mean for you? How can you quantifiably dictate everything that you did to achieve that, right? And for me, this is a very automated way for me to sync up, hey, these are all the things I've done to service this particular area of my life that I want to be good at. These are all the projects I've tried and failed, right? And the ones that succeeded. And the ones that succeeded, I'm going to save away as best practices for myself, for my family, for anyone else I care about. I'm going to say that as a master, so to speak, like a standard operating procedure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also going to earn a badge alongside with it. So that's basically kind of the bulk or the meat around the idea here, and ended up making like a few more follow-up YouTube videos about that. So again, I'm pretty proud of that I was able to inspire a community around this idea and basically make everyone else as passionate as I am about it. And I guess, Josh, I want to hear about you. Like, how did you feel about this whole idea? Because I'm not sure exactly. Like, what exactly brought you to our community? Like, what was the thing that was most?
No, for the people who are watching, I literally just met Conrad, or chatted with him last week and found his channel like a couple weeks before that. What brought like this? So I found your video under the Notion YouTube channel, and obviously they interview certain people on how they use Notion differently, and yeah, yours just really impressed me a lot and impressed a lot of other people as well. Like this use of like the database and the formulas, and like just made this whole thing a lot more fun, and designed it like this doesn't even look like your typical Notion page at all. For those who are not familiar with Notion, like what you're seeing is basically what you can create. So yeah, I just thought, hey, if I can learn about this and create teams around it and motivate them to accomplish tasks, like that's a huge thing, and do it in a way that's custom. So that's what got me really interested to join your community, and I think it was pretty impressive.
It's good to hear. Yeah, appreciate that.
So
that's the idea. Yeah. Mm.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, that's the exact idea. Like, how can I? Like, my biggest passion really is inspiring teams to do more with the limited resources we have every day, and time and money are resources, right? But how can I make it so that everyone feels effective, is effective, and feels good about the things they do every day? I think that's my biggest role as a founder, as someone that leads a team. That's my biggest role, in someone that kind of, for my siblings, like for my younger brother and my younger sister, how can I help them accomplish what they're meant to accomplish in their lives? And I'm just really glad I finally have a way to put all the accumulation of what I think may work. And again, my way is just a way. I'm very sure that they'll have better ways that they'll take this above and beyond, which I've already seen so many of our community members do. And I'm really, really happy that I'm able to provide this kind of impact to people that I care about, and also to a greater community that that now is being built step by step.
Yeah, I was wondering, can you share a little bit of how you came up with the CoX3 community, and like what were the steps of building that? Did it come out of this gamification template?
Okay, like
that might be a loaded question.
No. I'm just trying to think like what's the best way, because I think building a community has always been in my blood. I don't necessarily think that it was something that I'm not sure how to explain it, but like for everything that I try to do, I try to find like-minded people who are passionate about the same thing. Because I tend to get overeager and really into things when I start getting into it. So I like finding people that are the same kind of crazy as me, if that makes sense. So whenever I do anything, like even like, let's say, I guess that's really good for running a business. Like, don't get me wrong. Like running businesses, you want to find people that are as single-mindedly passionate about the same thing you are, for that business to even work in the first place, right?
Yeah.
But like a light-hearted example would be like, I was a pretty big gamer back when I was in high school. I don't have much time for it anymore, unfortunately. But back when I was in high school, and even a bit into university as well, like whenever my friends brought up a new game for us to play, I'd be like, oh my god, like really interesting, right? and then I'd sign up with them, right? Or maybe they bring me in, they've already been playing for like a few days or a week, and they're like, this is pretty cool, you should try it out too. But it's always inevitable that I'll start sinking like 5 times or even 10 times the time they put in into the game. And I'll end up like over leveling them by so much that I'm unable to play with them anymore. And I have to open up new accounts just to play with them on the same level. And when they're off, I'll play my own thing and I'll be like power leveling all the way up. And that thing got me like a bit like sad and frustrated. So I was like, okay, I gotta find people that also play like the way I play, right? The same kind of crazy. So whenever I start playing those kind of games, I would always like try to find my tribe, and I will always end up building like one of the biggest, if not the biggest, like groups or clans inside the game. And
do you have any favorite games that you play on?
Back then, I used to play a lot of MMORPGs.
Okay.
So I like a lot of those kind of games.
Okay, awesome.
So basically, like anything that you can do as a group, like any like raids, that kind of thing, like those things I really enjoyed. Because it meant that you would bring in a group of people that enjoy the same thing, right, the same passions, and essentially I ended up having like a limitless amount of friends to play with, right? So I guess that kind of kickstarted everything for me, and that kind of trend kind of went on as I went through life. I really like still building communities, whether it be around my work, right, the core founding team of what I'm doing now, or even the people that support us, right, the people that enjoy what we do, that benefit from our services. And I guess it was inevitable for me that when I built a project like the Gamification project, I also wanted to bring like-minded people and give them a space to kind of also exert their interests and exert what they think is meaningful in their lives, and just really see how we can pull things together. I guess I can kind of show like the landing page of the community and just really show what we're all about. So let me actually even remove the cookies here. So I'll just show the landing page for you.
So for those who aren't familiar, this is built off of the Mighty Network.
Yeah, we used to be on Discord, but then we grew too big for Discord. Discord had a problem where, I'm going to have to reshare.
Okay,
but Discord had a problem where if you have a lot of people in, a lot of the conversations get lost, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you end up not being able to find like where like people are. Like for example, you log in and you see like 20 or 35 unread messages, and you have no idea where each one is. And you might actually, there are little like badges, but it's really hard for you to find the exact conversation where you left off, and maybe like a lot of conversation has happened in between already. Okay, are you seeing my screen? Are you seeing the Koi Street page?
Yep. I see the x3conradlin.com.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Let me make sure.
I know Zoom's a little tricky sometimes.
Let me just share my whole screen then. I just want to be safe. Okay. The whole screen should be shared now, right?
Yeah. Welcome to X3. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, like the idea is that I'm really passionate about co-creation and collaboration. I think nothing can be done in the world unless you have people bonding over the same idea and wanting to do the same things. And the same idea could be quite general, actually. It could be about productivity, it could be about growth, it could be about learning. And I'm really trying to spark together a community that if you have like a crazy idea and you want support for that crazy idea, this is where you can find it, right? If you want to do something crazy with your life that's within those three, facets of, that I think we all care about, then go for it, right? So I started off with gamification, but I ended up taking it on to like how you can be really intentional in your life. That actually really meaningful to me. I can share more if you want me to, Josh, later. But basically, like it was a growth mindset that completely changed the way I thought about life, completely changed the way I approached life in general. So I share that idea as well. And one thing about me is that like I think ideas are cheap. Really, it's execution that matters. like anybody can write an article, write a blog, and say you should do X, Y, Z. But very few people actually give you meaningful ways to execute on it, or at least like in a way that would work for you.
That's so true.
Yeah, so I didn't like that because again, my whole thing is I like learning really fast. I like reading a lot, and therefore, obviously, I've come across a lot of good reading material and bad reading material, and always the good reading material always had actionable ways of how you can put it into practice, and in a way that is not just specific for the author, but something that you can do as well. So that's the idea for me, is that if I have like a mindset that I want to share, then I'm also going to give you a way to structure your life around that mindset. I'm not just going to tell you that this is what you should do, but no way to do it. But rather, this is a meaningful way that you could do it, and how you could configure it for yourself, as long as you understand what the framework is all about. So I ended up also teaching people how to like make a website completely, for free. So that was an interesting thing too, and I can share more at a later time. Josh, I don't know how much you want me to do.
I saw that video and it was really amazing. I don't have experience with Gatsby and Netlify, but like, it really got me intrigued. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so basically, like, I'm not a coder by trade by any means. Like, I have some programming knowledge because I just like to fiddle around. I guess you can call my knowledge like I know where a piece of code starts and stop.
Yeah.
And I'd say that's pretty much like my extent of my coding knowledge.
Copy and paste with the rest.
Which is useful actually in the sense that I know how to piece together code. At least I know how to do code review, right, and code audit. I was in a work setting, and for me, like, this was really my first dive into like how can I build my own website using React, scripts, and I learned a lot. I mean, I had no real programming experience before that, and within like just a few hours, I was able to make a site like this. Let me show you a site like this, completely loading from Notion actually. So Notion became my CMS, right? Notion became my CMS, and I don't pay at all to host this. I use Netlify. I use their free tier. It's super fast. Maybe right now I'm a bit lagging because I'm sharing everything, but you guys can check it. It's really fast.
Yeah.
And basically load like all my blogs. I can load all my mailing lists, like all my newsletters, for example.
That's really amazing.
Yeah, I just really enjoyed these kind of projects, and now everyone can try out for free. And I think if you don't have to pay Squarespace or Webflow or any of those website builders a single penny, I think that's pretty cool. We're getting something that you can configure for yourself and do whatever you want with it. But anyway, so those are the three like projects I started off with, and I'm like, I'm seeding the community, so to speak, right? I'm showing people that there's something that you can do. There's a space that's built for you. There's a space that you can be yourself and do whatever you want. If you want support from the community, on your life journey, then you get honest and constructive feedback. The big thing about me is I like to be honest. I don't think there's any reason to lie or cheat in your own life.
Yeah.
Therefore, the more honest you are, the better. And obviously, a lot of different ways that I put into practice how you can be effective and efficient. And basically, I'm really proud of the impact I've made. We had a lot of fantastic people that really just supporting our work, whether it be through, good cheers or even supporting us monetarily. So I really appreciate that. There's a lot of work that I put in to build up this community.
That's amazing.
For like-minded people. So I'm really, really happy that I've been able to kind of pull these people together and have opportunities, even just like this, to share my ideas, my thoughts to the world. And of course, my way is just a way, and I'm just really happy I can inspire people to just, if they can think about, even for a second, one way to challenge that, the things that they're doing every day that they take for granted or they do on autopilot, then that's already very meaningful to me.
That is amazing. I think you've inspired myself even more and a lot more others. So thank you so much for that. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Let's take a look here. So I guess, yeah, I'll put up the CoX3 community website on the link. Is there any advice that you like to give others like in a position like yourself during this time?
Position like myself, like in what way? Like a remote worker? Like
Remote worker. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think like
or just to stay sane and or have balance and just keeping up being productive.
I got a few things to share.
Mm-hmm.
I think the main thing is like, well, first of all, I want to layer it all is that be really careful about dopamine addiction. Right now, you're always in front of your computer, always in front of your phone. You have a big risk of being addicted to all the social media feeds, to all the Netflix shows you're probably binging while working on your spreadsheets, with all the the short-term happiness triggers and snacking, of course, snacking while you're working. There's a lot of things that are going to start overloading your dopamine receptors. And I'm coming at this from a science point of view, so do let me know if I'm...
No, that's perfect.
Whatever, but like what happens though is that your receptors are eventually going to start getting more and more dull. And the things that used to excite you aren't going to excite you as much anymore. And that's actually a big reason of why a lot of people can't handle the isolation or the work from home, is because they end up overloading the receptors on day one, and then nothing feels exciting for them anymore, and they're just lethargic and unhappy throughout the rest of the week. And I want to caution you about that, is you need to channel your dopamine triggers to something more meaningful. Because when you spend a whole day just watching movies, just watching TV shows, scrolling social media feeds, and being generally unproductive, you know that at the end of the day, and you get depressed about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good way, because that means that you're having a negative feedback loop for your dopamine as well, right? And so not only you're dulling your receptors, making it less easy for you to be actually excited anymore, you're actually not even happy at the end of the day, because you know that you should have been doing something more productive. So one thing I really stress, no matter how you do it, whether it be through gamification or whether it be through anything else, make work fun, make work exciting, make work your dopamine trigger. I know a lot of you guys don't have the I guess the happiness of having work as your passion, and that's something I think I really admire freelancers for. Actually, is freelancers are freelancers because they are making their work their passion, right? They're so dedicated to it that they don't want to be tied down. And I think actually a lot of your community are freelancers, so maybe there's something that you guys already know.
Mm-hmm.
But if your work is not your passion, you're not going to enjoy it, you're not going to get far in it, and you're not going to be as productive as you want to be. And for me, and just me probably, gamification is my way to make that into reality, even for the boring things I don't like to do. Like as a founder, I have to do a lot of things I don't enjoy doing, but it's because no one else is going to do it if I don't do it, right? But so I understand that there's things that you got to do, even if you don't necessarily want to. So make work fun is the most important thing. I have some friends over in Shopify that what they do is they started hosting MTV Cribs every week. So basically, like they show like their camera around, they walk through their home and say, "Hey, this is my crib," I thought that was pretty interesting. I thought that was really cool. That's a way to bond with your workers and colleagues. Group cooking sessions with your friends, like don't cook alone, right? Especially if you're like living alone.
So your cooking game has been improving?
My cooking game always is pretty not bad. Because again, I try to cook for myself like really early on.
Okay.
And then like working out on Zoom, working out with your friends.
Yeah.
That's something I've been doing recently. Like I just did a Zumba thing yesterday.
How is that? I haven't tried that yet, and I see a lot of people doing it.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
I mean, like my friend group usually has a workout session once in a while. So instead of doing it in person, we're just doing it online. So I really like that. It was pretty cool.
Awesome.
Next week we're doing I think we're infusing K-pop into it. So we're doing K-pop dances and stuff. Like, oh, that's pretty interesting. I mean, cool. I mean, I'm learning something new, right? And that's my thing too. I like learning something new skills. I mean, why not, right? So yeah, try to do things that I guess get you more social. That's not social media. Like, please, I don't think social media is like a good trigger of the dopamine that you should be getting in your daily life.
Right.
You should find this time to bond more with people that you care about. You should definitely find more ways to connect with your colleagues and teammates if you have those, right? If you're working in a work setting, and just have fun. I think life is the most meaningful when you enjoy it, right? And
I
the whole
agree.
thing is that you have to enjoy the journey. Don't focus only on the destination.
Awesome. Very juicy insights. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, if people want to get involved or even start gamifying their life, how can they? What are the first steps to do that? Do they just go to your website and just go from there?
I mean, you guys can definitely start by joining the CoX3 community.
Awesome.
It's found at x3.conradlin.com. And basically from there, you'll get access to a very lively community of like-minded thinkers. We all share really cool ideas that we have every day. We support each other on our journey, and you can also find our gamification templates from there. Most of the stuff I do that I offer up are free. I just like sharing my ideas with the world. But of course, so you can get started from there. But we do have some enhanced templates that you can try out once you get more familiar with the ideas and want to upgrade your life a little bit more in all kind of aspects that you want. And yeah, like, don't be afraid, I think, is the main thing. Like, a lot of people, the biggest barrier to success is just starting. And I think if you start being intentional, start looking into your life, seeing what you can, what you haven't been meaningfully doing, what you haven't been paying attention on, what you could be doing to make yourself more productive. I think it's just really cool. And Notion as a tool I think is pretty sick as well. Like, again, I'm just a user. I just found it as a way that I can use to organize my life a lot better. And for me, I did have some background in database developments before this, like architecture-wise.
That makes a lot of sense.
So I did have like a edge, I guess, in thinking about this kind of thing. And if you also are interested, if you're a developer and you're interested in building really cool, really fast database, mission critical database softwares for enterprises, like B2B software, you can check out a tool called Rintagi. It's also another project I'm working on. It's an open source low-code development tool that is very flexible. It has all the user permission and management baked in. It's low-code. So we've been using that as a company to build software for banks, oil and gas companies, warehousing, finance, even insurance companies and fintech companies using the software. And it's just really fast for us to build what we need to build. And I use that kind of experience in the enterprise sector to build something for my life over in Notion. So yeah, there's a lot of cool tools out there. I just think if you guys explore a bit, you'll find a lot of more interesting ways to be as productive as you can and be as meaningful as you can. Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much. You have been such a wealth of knowledge and help. So I really appreciate that. All right. So I guess that wraps up our time for today. So if you guys want to get a hold of Conrad, just reach out to him. His Instagram is conrad.lin. And
Instagram. You should probably use my YouTube. My Instagram, I don't really
understand. YouTube. And I'll add the links in the description. And
you can also tweet at me at CryptoLin, and then you can also tweet me there. So
perfect.
I'm usually most active on 3 platforms. One is Twitter. One is my community, of course. I'm always there. And then also is YouTube.
Okay.
Definitely on YouTube.
Awesome. All right, I'm just switching screens here and like my sound bites are going all crazy. Okay, thanks so much. And so for tomorrow we have our next interview. It's going to be with Evo, Kevin, and Lee, and we're going to talk about what it's like to freelance during this COVID times and some opportunity there for remote work. So we hope you guys have a good evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.